Hello, this is William Allen with my EDL 858 case study, a study looking at creating a culture and community that values school attendance. So first off, to look at the case as a whole and kind of establish some facts. So looking at who is involved, Mr. Rhodes, principal, myself, is a first-year principal. And the other main players of this scenario are the students with high absentee rates. So there was 5 that were looked at: Karen, Tyrone, Christina, Carl, and John. So Karen is a junior. She was a good student in her freshman and sophomore years, had not a lot of problems, A's and B's, was married before her junior year, and the guidance counselor did not seem to be doing his job. He didn't set up meetings, even though parents requested that they get meetings with teachers, and she has been missing Mondays and Fridays, and she skipped a midterm. There's Tyrone, a sophomore, whose parents keep pulling him out for educational excursions, like to DC and to Canada, and he has missed a significant number of days. There's Christina, who is a freshman, who is missing 4 days in a row, multiple occasions, to go to out-of-town ministry events or church events, and she has a signed note by her minister requesting that she be gone. There is Carl, who is involved in regular classes in the morning and vocational in the afternoon. His parents don't seem to be very supportive of him in school and attending school. His dad has mentioned he can just drop out and work for him. They don't see that it is any of the school's business, and that is a family matter, his attendance record. And then there is John, who is a junior. He is the quarterback of the team, the football team, and it is very important to this school. He is injured, so the only time he can get his physical therapy, of course, is twice a week during his afternoon classes, and it's for a significant period of time. And then his athletic director and coach also wrote him a note so that he can be excused from his Friday afternoon classes so he can rest up for the games on Fridays. So obviously not ideal situations, and I'm assuming that this is a good representation of all of the students of the school, some of the things that are happening with attendance. So where and when? It's taken place at Golden Oak High School, grades 9 through 12. There's 965 students. There's a lot of extracurricular activities, but football, like I mentioned, is the most important to the community. It's adjacent to a metropolitan area. There's a low teacher turnover, lots of experienced teachers, very few new teachers being brought on year to year. Recently, Hispanic and Asian families have increased diversity to the community. They've been moving in. And another important thing to set the stage is that many parents have a long commute to work, 1 or 2 hours a lot of times, so they are not very involved in their students' lives academically or otherwise. So what occurred? Golden Oak has the lowest attendance rates currently in the district after previously being recognized for having the highest attendance rates. So 659 students missed 10 or more days of school, which is a significant number. Mr. Rhodes, myself, has been encouraged to work with social services and juvenile court to remedy the scenario, encouraged by my superintendent, and various scenarios of excused absences that should not be classified as excused, as mentioned before, and neglecting duties such as the counselor, teachers failing to report good attendance data. So are there any legal or ethical issues? Yes, we're looking at lots of issues in this scenario. So is there harm being done? Yes, mainly to the students. The students' academic achievement is suffering, as shown by one of the students we looked at, and I'm sure if we pulled student achievement data and put it alongside attendance data, it would show a trend of decrease as well. Students are being neglected by their parents at home, and favoritism is being shown by the athletic director and other teachers for our football star and not reporting him as missing an excessive amount of school. Is there laws broken? Yes, the mandatory education laws are being broken. Parents are keeping their kids willfully or unwillfully from school, and this is an issue. And is there a contract breached? I'm going to assume yes, that as part of the teachers' contracts there is a clause in there that says that they must support district and school policies, and they are not currently doing that with regards to attendance, at least, and For our guidance counselor, I'm assuming he's breaking his contract as well because he is not performing the duties that are necessary to a counselor. And then there is the serious issue of, again, inaccurate attendance reporting from teachers. So, to summarize it in one sentence, parents, faculty members, and students alike are not being held accountable for school attendance, nor do they understand the value of school attendance. So again, kind of looking at the major players, the principal, myself, the athletic director, the counselor, the teachers, the parents, and the students are the main stakeholders in this scenario. It's at Golden Oak High School, and it's happening not just in the classroom with teachers and other staff members, but it's also happening outside of the classroom with the coaching and especially the parents at home. So the program is the school itself, especially the academic program, and the extracurricular activities that are being offered play a role into this as well. So what damage is being done or could be done? The students, like I mentioned before, are going to suffer the consequences of poor attendance, whether that be academic or, again, one student was referred to a truancy officer, more could follow suit. Parents could face consequences of neglecting the needs of their children, specifically in regards to their education, and schools could suffer as a whole if the pattern continues. Absolutely, it's going to affect the school in a negative manner. Again, the stakeholders are all those mentioned as previous, and based off of all this information gathered, can a decision be made? I believe that there is enough information provided to move forward. A couple things I would like to investigate farther would be if the data reflects similar situations across the board. So we looked at those 5 students. Is this what's occurring across the board with students? Or is there other causes that are also involved? And how involved have social services in the juvenile court system been in, how involved have they been in the past in the current situation? And how willing are they to get involved in the future? So looking at some possible options, option 1 is to take no action. So even though I've been told by my superintendent to, investigate the situation or remedy it, I'm going to say that I'm going to continue to allow these negative practices and claim there's no real harm or that there's no solution that I could find. Option 2 would be the most extreme. You could remove all the teachers and staff not adhering to school principles, so the teachers that are not collecting correct attendance data, the athletic director, the school counselor, anyone who is not on board, just cut them, and then report students to truancy officers and seek action potentially against the parents. So anyone that's having trouble with attendance, refer them to a truancy officer. Anyone that is, any parents that are doing this, again, neglectfully, can be, held accountable in a court of law. And option 3 and 4 are kind of some in-between options. So to intervene with staff through professional development and data analysis, and to form a team to present ideas to reach parents, students, and community on the issue of attendance specifically. And then option 4 would be to punish students for low attendance. So there's already a clause in place saying that you can take off their final grade if they have 5 or more unexcused absences. But we could also include sports and extracurriculars in this if they are not being done so already. So for poor attendance, or so to reflect poor attendance, they're not allowed to participate in their extracurriculars. So evaluating our options. So option number 1 of taking no action, conflict is avoided with the teachers involved, the staff involved, and the parents, but the problem is still going to persist and your superintendent's probably not going to be very pleased with your results. Option 2, it removes some of the problems, right? Some of the immediate problems, but there is a potential for unrest, and it could be seen as really extreme and harsh, especially by the community and parents. Option 3, an intermediate action. Again, there's potential for a shared vision and expectation, so there's the potential to get everyone on board with the importance of attendance, and it's going to tackle multiple aspects of the problem, not just specific areas. And then, but on a con could be it's going to take some time and resources, and there might be pushback from the staff because they're set in their ways. They've been doing this, they don't apparently see a problem with it, so there might be some pushback if we try to rock the boat. And then option 4 provides accountability piece for students, but there's a potential pushback from parents, staff, and community. If they, again, don't see a problem with it, they're going to have problems with us attaching consequences to this behavior. So what I would say is the best option is kind of blended options from my options provided, the intermediate ones. So my first step is going to be to target staff and work to get them back on track. So whether that's through meetings with my superintendent, professional development, I want to show them through data and other things that attendance is absolutely vital. It's legally required that they attend, and that we report it accurately. So I want to get them back on track first and then go out. I want to work together to implement programs or incentives to reach students and families. So I want to form a team that's going to reach out once I have my staff on board. That'll reach the greater community, especially students and families, in order to get them on the same page. And I want to make sure we consistently respond to attendance issues. And that could mean instituting a policy that does not allow them to participate in extracurriculars if they have trouble with attendance. So why would I choose these options? Again, the student's priority, they need to be in school. So without the staff support, I cannot enforce what I'm trying to implement. Without parent buy-in, it will be met with more resistance. And I want to be proactive in this approach. So I want to just be not reactive to everyone, not attending and then just give them consequences. I want to be proactive. I want to seek out the reason why they are not attending, and I want to nip that in the bud. That way I don't have to be reactive. I can take care of it at the source. And I want to, again, support this with evidence and data. So I want to gather all kinds of data, as I'll talk about in the next slide. So first, I want to work with superintendent and staff to advocate for proper attendance response. Again, I want to get them on the same page of knowing how serious an issue this is. I want to meet individually with the teachers and staff who are failing to comply and then take further action if necessary. So meet with the athletic director, the teachers, and the counselor and see if intervention in that way is going to make change. And if that does not make a change, then we can look at further action and possible termination. Next, I want to form a team to locate specific sources of truancy and generate ideas on how to counter the effects. So gather all kinds of data like I mentioned, whether it's perception data from the students and parents on why they are not putting value to attendance, what are the reasons that they are not attending school. And I also want to look at student achievement data and again see if there's a trend that we could prove with hard evidence that this is affecting our school in multiple ways. And then lastly, I want to take action to address the concerns with students and target needs based off of the data collected. So again, I want to take what we've gathered and work directly with students and target their needs and see why they're not attending, why they don't hold it high in value, and see what underlying issues are there. That way we can come up with plans to counter that. And again, I want to consistently respond to attendance concerns, not just this is approved by this teacher for these reasons, and not just one student is exempt because he's our star quarterback, right? I want to make sure we consistently respond and have policy in place that will address these needs. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you for watching.